Sometimes, an animal thinks it can overpower another just based on sheer size. Whatever the reason, many times certain predators are in for a surprise when they decide to hunt certain prey. What do you think happens when a toad swallows a beetle? What happens to a dog who confronts a lion? If you want to see it all, keep watching as we count down 15 land animals that messed with the wrong opponent, part 2. Number 15. Spider versus Wasp. When you hear of a tarantula hawk or the red spider wasp, the first thing that comes to mind is it's a hawk that eats tarantulas. Wrong. It is a spider wasp which hunts tarantulas. Tarantulas have earned a deadly reputation as a predator capable of killing mice, lizards, and small birds. But the spiders run in fear from the tarantula hawk or spider wasp. This wasp preys on its namesake, engaging in a ferocious battle that leads to the spider being paralyzed with a highly painful sting. Once stung, the tarantula becomes paralyzed within seconds. The condition will last for the rest of its life. The wasp then drags the sleeping spider, which can be up to 8 times its weight, to a burrow, lays an egg into the spider's still alive abdomen, which serves as a host for the young. The young wasp devours the tarantula developed into an adult, eating the non-essential organs first to keep it alive for as long as possible. These wasps have not only worked out how to successfully attack a predatory spider, but also to reserve the best meals for their most valuable offspring. The wasp can decide the sex of their baby by choosing whether to fertilize the egg. Fertilized eggs produce females while males come from unfertilized eggs. The sting has been described as beyond imagination. It only lasts about 2 to 3 minutes, but it is unsurpassed in intensity by any other stinging insect. Number 14. Stag versus Bison. The European bison is Europe's heaviest wild land animal. An individual bison may have been significantly larger in the past than modern bison. Bison were hunted to extinction in the wild throughout the early 20th century. The red deer is a large deer standing bold and tall. With its huge antlers, it is an unmistakable symbol of the Scottish Highlands, but it may also be found in northwestern and southern England. This male red deer wants to challenge this European bison, and the bison is ready to go. The bison has the size advantage, but the red deer is weaponized with huge antlers. A clash would be interesting, and I'm not sure who would come out on top. But after running around in circles for a few seconds, the red deer finally decides to lower its head and clash with the bison, but it's barely a hit. In this next clip, the bellowing sound of the red deer fills the fresh evening air. As autumn approaches, red deer bulls begin to battle and attempt to amass a big herd of red deer cows with which to mate. The ruddling season has begun. The deer bull challenges the European bison, bringing this adrenaline-fueled phase of battling for dominance to a head. It's interesting to see that even though the red deer is much smaller than the bison, it can hold its own against this massive beast. The antlers help, of course, and I'm wondering if the bison feels any pain. Number 13. Pelican versus Seagull. They're obnoxious, greedy, invading, polluting, and combative. They devour anything that moves, as well as a variety of non-moving objects. You can hate them all you want, but seagulls are 100% badass. Check out the seagull fight it out with not 1, not 2, but 3 pelicans for a measly little fish. The pelican is slightly bigger than the seagull, but its beak is much larger, and at one point, the pelican's brute force gives it the strength to pull the seagull towards it. And the other 2 pelicans charge the seagull as well, making the seagull abandon the fight and concede victory to the pelicans. Whenever pelicans go on the hunt for fish, you can bet your money that seagulls are not too far away. Check out this pelican trying to fish in peace when a bunch of pelicans jump it so they can steal its catch. This is a full-scale aerial attack, and I think this pelican is overwhelmed. Number 12. Rhino versus Boar. The strength of a rhino is unfathomable, and compared to them, humans are like ants. Rhinos can weigh up to 4 tons, but can still run at a speed of up to 40 miles an hour despite this weight. The average car weighs about half as much as these mastodons. The rhino horn is a dangerous long horn made of keratin, and if the rhino manages to hit an animal with its horn, it can be deadly. On the other hand, wild boars are powerful creatures that can run quickly. In the event of an attack, adult male's canines can cause major injury. Wild boars are thought to be particularly harmful when involved in auto accidents because of their substantial body build. But let's be frank here. Wild boars are no match for rhinos, and you can see in this video exactly what I'm talking about, as these wild boars surround this huge rhino, and when the rhino has had enough, it just sends one of the boars flying into the air. The boar goes flying into the air like a stuffed animal you win at an amusement park and falls back to the ground. Is it dead? I don't think so, but that must have been very painful. Number 11. Wolf versus Bison. While wolves will eat hares and other tiny prey, ungulates or large hoofed animals like deer and elk are the preferred diet. While elk, caribou, deer, and moose are the most common, bison, musk oxen, Dall sheep, and even salmon can be found. While bison are large, they are so deadly that only a few wolf packs are willing to attack them. A bison may easily kill or badly damage a wolf, and bringing one down requires a lot of hunting cooperation. The scenery in this first video is unbelievable as a herd of bison and a pack of wolves run through the snow. The view from above is spectacular, and you just know something is about to happen. The bison are gathered around, relaxing with the wolf pack fast approaching. The wolves circle the herd to try and unsettle it, but the bison are armed and dangerous, so the wolves need to be strategic. The wolves up their game by harrying the herd, a plan to trigger stampede and split away one of the smaller bison. But the massive beasts understand what the wolves are trying to do, and they form a circle around their young with their horns facing outwards. It's like they're telling the wolves, come and get some. All the wolves need is for one bison to make a mistake and leave the group, and it's game over. But the bison stick together. For some reason, the bison begin to panic, and most of the herd begins to run, leaving some of the bison behind, and what was going to happen, happens. The pack brings down one of the bison that will feed it for a while, but the wolves will have to resume the chase soon. In this next clip, a few wolves target this calf, but its mother stays next to it to protect it. There aren't too many wolves, and the mother manages to escape with her calf. The key to a successful hunt for the wolves is to isolate a target from the herd, and when that happens, that's when they go for the kill. Number 10. Lion vs. Dog. To be honest, no canine breed can defeat a lion in a one-on-one battle. To take down a lion, they must have at least one or two companions. Even if they have friends, not all canine breeds can kill a lion, especially not this limping dog in our first video. But that doesn't stop it from challenging two big lions, including a male. The lions are so stunned by the audacity of this dog that they don't even know what to do. The male lion looks at the female as if it's asking her if this is for real. Check this dog go. It even jumps at the male lion. This dog is nuts. If this lion gets pissed, it will swallow the dog with one bite. And I'm stunned that it just keeps backing up and not doing anything about it. These two seem to be friends, and it's great to see them play around with a cheetah taking a stroll right behind them. What an amazing sight. I must hand it to these dogs. They don't just back off from a fight with these big cats, and this lioness, once again, seems afraid. Either that, or it's not hungry, or it has more important things to think about. This just doesn't make sense. Number 9. Bison vs. Deer and Elk. Bison are known for their peace-loving behavior unless they are provoked. Then they can turn into aggressive beasts. But in this disturbing video, this bison herd finds a wounded deer and decides to attack it for some reason. The deer is badly hurt, it can barely stand up. Its legs seem to be broken and the bison follow it, ramming into it every once in a while. Maybe they feel the need to kill it and end its suffering. I don't know what it is, but it's not pretty to look at. Perhaps they're telling the deer to scram because it doesn't belong there. Even after the deer manages to walk to the edge of the forest, a bison continues to harass it. Sometimes, nature is a cruel state of affairs. Bison seem to be very territorial, and they prove it once again when they ram into this elk multiple times to let it know it's not welcome. The elk is probably hanging around the bison herd because it knows a wolf is just waiting for the opportunity to snatch it. So it prefers being ran by bison than by being eaten by wolves. What great options this elk has. The wolf finds the elk on the ground and feasts on it, but I'm not sure if the wolf made the kill or found the elk already dead on the floor. In our next video, these elk are much better equipped to face this bison, and they stand their ground. And the bison understands it needs to keep its distance. Number 8. Cat vs. Snake. Cats can kill any snake. They are fast, agile, and intelligent, making them a formidable opponent for snakes. Venomous snakes are included because they can prevent the toxins being deposited by a rapid bite. In this first clip, this cat and snake examine each other for a bit. At any moment, any of them can launch an attack. The cat circles the snake, and the snake keeps an attentive eye on the cat. But all this leads to absolutely nothing. This next cat faces a lethal rattlesnake, so it needs to be careful about its approach. The rattlesnake is cornered, and no animal likes to be cornered. The cat strikes several times, missing its target, and the snake does not retaliate. Our next clip shows us a smaller snake, but it is one feisty snake, and it doesn't back down from this white cat. The snake tries to climb the tree, and that's when the cat strikes it the most, but barely touches it. The snake manages to climb the tree out of the cat's grasp, but the cat decides to jump it as well, until the snake strikes the cat and the cat lets go, landing on the ground. The cat jumps once again, and this time lays its paw on the snake, causing it to fall to the ground again, and it's back to square one. This is one crazy fight, but it ends up in a draw. In our next video, this serval looks like it's dancing the cha-cha, the way it's jumping up in the air. Bigger cats seem to have more problems neutralizing snakes than smaller cats. Finally, our last cat strikes this snake several times, but it only makes the kill when the snake lunges at the cat for the final blow. Number 7. Wallaby versus Kangaroo. Kangaroos are substantially larger than wallabies, reaching heights of 2 meters and weighing more than 90 kilograms. Wallabies, on the other hand, are lucky if they weigh more than 20 kilograms and rarely grow taller than 1 meter. Despite the fact that there are many different species of wallaby and kangaroo, this is a useful rule of thumb to use when distinguishing which animal you're looking at. So then, how would a wallaby match up against a kangaroo in a fight? Well, let's check it out, as this wallaby and kangaroo get into a scrum at this farm. The wallaby is actually lucky, because there is a fence separating the two. I'm sure the kangaroo would kick the wallaby's butt if it weren't for the barrier between them. The kangaroo even hurts its chest because of the fence. I guess these two don't get along. In our next video, a kangaroo and a wallaroo are involved in a boxing match, and it looks like it's a pretty fair fight. I'm wondering why these marsupials are always fighting it out, instead of just hanging out together and grabbing a beer. Number 6. Mongoose versus Lizard. Mongooses are ferocious and courageous little creatures who will fight and kill even the largest deadly snakes. However, it's difficult to understand why a mongoose would attack a lizard. It is astounding at how resilient these little creatures are. Okay, the dragon is not big, but it's still able to cause a lot of damage, and the mongoose are so small, although there are many of them in this clip. I'm just surprised the dragon doesn't want to confront the mongooses. This mongoose gives this Komodo a beating. Wow, that's something I never expected to see in my lifetime. A Komodo dragon being killed by such a small creature. I thought these dragons were invincible. This pack of mongooses takes on this monitor lizard by surrounding it, but then they just stare at it without doing anything else. Finally, in our last video, this Komodo dragon has taken its revenge on this mongoose. I guess the mongoose alone couldn't handle the Komodo. Maybe if the pack had been there, it would have been a different story. Number 5. Toad versus Beetle. Toads sometimes eat beetles, but it doesn't always turn out the way the toad anticipated. Sometimes, the toad vomits the beetle. This first clip shows a toad and beetle staring at each other right in the face. When the beetle tries to squander off, the toad snatches it with its tongue. But 5 seconds into trying to eat the beetle, the toad spits it out and even pushes it with its arm, demonstrating a definitive distaste for the little bug. The beetle is motionless for a few seconds, but turns over and walks away in a jiffy. In our next clip, this toad tries several times to eat this beetle and just keeps spitting it out. I guess it didn't use the proper herbs, so the beetle would be palatable. The beetle is slightly stunned, but it keeps advancing towards the toad for some reason. In this next clip, a beetle has tapped the frog with its horns, and the frog can't seem to move. It takes this human all of the patience and tools in the world to separate these two, but he finally manages to do so. This next clip is fascinating. This Apomus beetle attacks this toad and paralyzes it so it can eat it. Watch how the process takes place, and by the end of it, the frog has become the beetle's lunch. Finally, this bullfrog is stuck in an aquarium with this beetle, and it totally ignores the insects. However, it's the beetle that takes it to the bullfrog. It keeps charging the bullfrog, and the bullfrog just slaps it out, turning the beetle over and the beetle just repeating the same thing. It's like Groundhog Day all over again. Number 4. Pig versus Dog. Surprisingly, a house pig can get along swimmingly with a family of dogs. To be on the safe side, it's best advised that dogs and pigs be supervised together at all times. And the reason is quite obvious as depicted in this first video. These two are fighting ferociously and it doesn't look like they like each other. The only way this fight ends without any victims is when a man intervenes and separates the two pugilists. The dog has his teeth holding on tight to the pig, but the man manages to split the two up. This next video shows this dog chasing a wild pig. I mean, this isn't some little house pig. This is a wild pig, and they usually don't back down from a fight, especially against a medium-sized dog like this one. I guess this dog is intimidating it. The pig turns the tables on the dog and corners it, and the dog is not enjoying its time at the moment by the sounds of its lamentations. This next fight is another rumble in the dirt, and these two fighters don't give their opponents an inch. The wild pig rams into the dog, and the dog bites it with all its might. In our next clip, this pig is returning from its first Weight Watchers meeting, and it must deal with this annoying dog. The pig is barely trying to get over the news that it will have to cut its calorie intake to 1,200 calories per day. And now it must hear this dog teasing it. Life's just not fair. Number 3. Crow versus Snake. Crows may kill and eat snakes, but they may also die. Snakes are predators as well as prey, and they can be one of the most dangerous predators. Crows are extremely intelligent, and you can see how this crow messes with the snake's mind by constantly circling it, and once in a while biting it. The snake retaliates, but the crow is quick and smart enough to back off when that happens. The snake is really not happy, as I can understand why. This next clip shows a crow trying to kill a tiny snake, but it's not easy. The snake is on guard and ready to strike the crow at any time. This baby snake tries to fight off two crows taking shots at it. This is one gutsy little snake, and before the crows can kill it, they will have to work just a little harder to be successful. This water snake has snatched what seems to be an eel, and these crows want a piece of the action, except they're not willing to take a risk.